Have you ever accidentally caught someone naked? If so, what's the story?
Merida, Mexico. Check in at front desk of hotel and give us key to the room. Walk in on one of the maids working her side gig entertaining a client. Got a free upgrade to best room in the place.
I work as a handyman. I went to a house to install smoke detectors in bedrooms. I arrive and a woman lets me in and I tell her that I will be entering all of the bedrooms and I ask her if anyone else is home. She says no. The first bedroom that I enter has a naked dude asleep on his bed. On my way out, I inquire from the woman why she told me no one else was home. She apparently forgot about the sleeping naked dude.
A friend of mine texted me to come hang out and told me just to walk in when I got there. So I get there about 20 minutes later, and walked in on him jacking off. He said he was bored and forgot he texted me. Exactly a week later, he showed up at my house unannounced and walked in on me jerking off.
I was doing a Zoom meeting with a coworker and his wife walked by in the background fully naked twice. I don't think she realized her husband's camera was on or that she was in view.
My friends and I were like 7 and playing tag, so I ended up chasing him into his mom's room and ended up seeing some nips that day.
On holiday with family friends at age 7 and my brother and I joined them at their hotel room to watch Free Willy with kids our age. As I was sitting there, mother walks out of the shower with a towel around her head and completely naked. The movie ended, went back to our room and pretended nothing happened because my parents would freak and probably not going to let us go over anymore, but the kids had Power Rangers on tape. I wasn't going to risk Power Rangers. Thankfully my little brother didn't see, kid was a snitch. The kids saw their mother naked and acted as if nothing happened.
I've been caught naked. When I get too drunk I tend to abandon the party and sneak off to sleep. It was my 30th birthday party, and I have this particularly peer pressure Y friend who was there. It was around 1 a.m, I was absolutely blitzed, and I thought that if I stayed up any longer things would end poorly for me, so I snuck off to bed. I often sleep naked, and proceeded to do so that evening. While lying in bed, still awake at this point, I hear my friend scream from downstairs, "Where did that beep go?" And I know it's only a matter of time before he starts searching the house for me. In my drunk brain, I assumed that if he came upstairs, opened my bedroom door, and saw my bed empty, then that would be the end of the search of the room, so I scrambled into my closet and sat Indian style in my dirty laundry hamper, dirty laundry and all. He comes upstairs with the entire rest of the party in tow, only about 15 to 20 people, looks in my room, sees the bed empty, and immediately heads towards the closet. It had slats so I could track his progress. Needless to say, they found me sitting there. Edit, expanded upon and clarified a couple points. Also, thank you all for enjoying my story so much.
Was cleaning at work and knocked on the women's changing room to make sure I was allowed to enter. All was fine. So I walk in on a topless colleague, and it took about a second and a half to realize what's just happened. I apologize and leave. She says it's okay, but it's not, so I leave, and then when she eventually comes out she offers me a pastry. Still flustered, I declined. I really shouldn't have declined. Edit, thanks for the awards. I don't know what they mean, but that's very kind.
I was at my girlfriend's house. It was at night. We were sleeping on the first floor, while her parents were sleeping downstairs near the kitchen. Thing is, I got a little thirsty, so I decide to go in the kitchen for water. While I'm entering the kitchen, it turns out that her mother, who was naked, had the same idea. We enter the kitchen in the same time, in front of each other. The two entries to the kitchen face each other, so we looked at each other and got the FCK back to our rooms. It was not funny on the moment, but speaking of it with everyone the morning after, we had quite a laugh.
When I was visiting a primary school and was talking to the principal in his office, I saw a beautiful naked woman parading in her house at the opposite side of the garden behind the school, big windows, second floor, as was the principal's office. I told the principal and he laughed. She always did that, and even the 12-year-old kids in the classroom next door got used to her and had stopped caring. He had checked with the police to see if they could do something about it, but as it was her own house they couldn't. And #X200B, edit, the principal told me he didn't care for her naked body. If it would have been a man, he would be interested.
I work in a predominantly male industry, 3 women to approximately 50 men. We have men and women locker, shower rooms, but all of our uniforms are stored in the same room that happens to be located right outside the men's locker room. I walked in said room to grab my uniforms and I happened to walk in right at the exact time that the maintenance men are getting ready to leave. The double doors swing wide open and there it was. An unidentified coworker, naked as the day he was born. The widest backside I have ever seen. The moon would be jealous at how bright his ass shone. I only saw it for a second, but that image is burned in my brain forever. Months later I was telling this story to a coworker friend. He asked me if I knew who it was, where the person was standing, etc. I never saw the naked man's face to properly identify him, but he figured it out. It was him. Edit, spelling.
I was 6. Walked in on my friend's dad pooping naked. He gasped like a woman and threw his basketball magazine in the air. I giggled and ran away.
The family maid when I was 10 years old. She just came out of the shower and quickly shut the door when I saw her. Turns out that my dad was shagging her lamau.
I was backpacking and I came across another hiker who had just been skinny dipping and was sitting on the ground naked to dry off. I stopped to chat for 10 minutes because I had stayed by myself the last couple nights and was starved for human interaction. Figured he wouldn't mind because being a free spirit was kind of the default on the trail and he made no move to get dressed, just sat in a way that granted some coverage. We ended up hiking together for a few days and he later mentioned how he had felt pretty awkward. Oops. Also ended up giving him a multi-hour lift back when we finished, so there are no hard feelings.
I was hanging some photo on the wall for my now ex-GF. I heard her sister leave the bathroom after taking a shower but didn't think much of it. Hearing her approach I turned to look out of the bedroom door and caught her totally naked walking from the bathroom to her room. She didn't realize I had come to the house so she screamed and called me a gorilla, then frantically ran to her bedroom to cover up. Whoops Macron / Macron.
In my freshers week at uni, I walked in on one of my flatmates. She had taken some substances and had disappeared into her room. So I knocks on her door asking if she's alright. No answer. So I walk into her room and hear the distinct sound of someone throwing up, so I open her door and find her, naked, in her shower, covered in her own vomit, just staring at me. I could never quite look at her the same way. Thank beep she didn't remember it.
I've got a friend who has mild brain damage from a car accident. He can function but cannot do DIY tasks. He and his family were on holiday so I took the opportunity to do his DIY for him as he's a proud man and doing it while he's there never felt right. So I'm up the ladder fixing a rotted window frame when his naked daughter, 19, came into the room from the shower. She's at uni and didn't go away with them. We both saw each other, screamed and both ran and hid. I'm her godfather and have known her dad since we were 8. I left him a voicemail straight away telling him what happened. When he got back he was in hysterics trying to imagine our faces while we just stood there screaming at each other. Looking back it was humiliating and hilarious at the same time.
Reverse of the question, but when my wife and I got married I moved into her place. Unbeknownst to me, her mother had a habit of just coming over unannounced. She even had a key and would just let herself in if my wife didn't answer, assuming she was in the shower or something. Well, we were in the living room, going at each other on a chaise. To paint the scene for you, we were laying back, my wife was on top reversed with her back to my chest, her legs wide open propped up on the arms of the chaise and my cock in her asshole whilst she was yelling beat my little asshole, beat my ass baby, beep beep beep. All of a sudden my wife screams mom. And hops off my dick and then I hear a door slam. We know that she got a very good look because later she tried to tell my wife how unhealthy anal was. Suffice it to say that was the last time my mother-in-law ever walked in when no one came to the door.
I was at a school camp and went around the side of a building looking for a toilet. As I turned a corner I quickly jolted back as I realized a female classmate was changing and had only a shirt on. That was my first real-life glimpse of ass and it was glorious.
I work apartment maintenance. I got a work order that I was authorized to go into the unit without the tenant being there. I did the same protocol I always do. I knocked 3 separate times, identifying myself as maintenance each time. No answer. I let myself in, walked all the way to the back bedroom where the problem was, and then I hear her bathroom door opening from between myself and the entry door. She walked out, butt naked. She was maybe 65 or so. She screamed, I screamed, we all screamed for me to GTFO of there. She didn't complain or anything. But now she tries to talk when I see her. I'm just gonna say it. Her titties were still nice and supple for an old lady lol. Obligatory edit, I love that my highest voted comment is about old lady titties.
Oh boy, finally a place for this story. Many moons ago, I was a cop in the military. One of the guys I worked with, Graham, had a truck that he was gonna let me borrow in order to move some furniture to my new place. He gave me his address, let's call it 21 Illinois Street. I show up and knock on the door a lot but there is no answer, and after he doesn't reply to my text I assume he's doing something inside, so I check the doorknob. It's unlocked. I go inside and just as I shut the door behind me I see the largest dog that has ever lived staring me down from the end of the hallway. Looks like a pit bull mixed with a rhinoceros. It charges me. I try fumbling with the doorknob but it's beep up and I can't figure it out in time before the dog pounces on me and luckily starts furiously licking me. Apparently this dog is as friendly as he is ginormous. I pet the dog as my adrenaline calms down and I prepare to curse out Graham for not letting me know in advance that he has a small mam. Oth as a pet. I call out to Graham a few times, looking around for him downstairs and in the backyard. I don't find him so I walk up the staircase. Now, I know Graham is married, but I have never seen his wife. Graham is a great guy but he is not what you'd call conventionally attractive. I don't know what I expected but it certainly wasn't this absolutely gorgeous woman who walks out of the bathroom at that moment completely naked save for the towel wrapped around her hair. She sees me just a fraction of a second after I see her, screams, covers herself up with her hands. I got a full frontal view. I immediately cover my eyes and say, oh my god, I'm so beep sorry. Then I turn and walk downstairs kicking myself for getting into this situation. I can't help but think that Graham is some low-key prodigy, wonderkind or something though because this woman is so far out of his league it's like a toddler from a daycare t-ball team playing for the Yankees. After a minute, she comes downstairs. Wearing the towel and asks me what I'm doing here. I tell her that I'm here to borrow Graham's truck so I can move some furniture, to which she responds that she thinks I am in the wrong house. I pull out my phone and show her no, Graham texted me 21 Illinois Street and I saw the big 21 on the door. She informs me that we are on Oregon Street, Illinois is the next street over. The color drains from my face as I say, are you telling me that I just wandered into some random woman's house and saw her naked? To which she replied, yes you did, while giggling. I stammer out more apologies while she keeps laughing at me, and we banter a bit about how worthless her dog is at protecting the home. Turns out her doorknob is broken so she can't lock it. Eventually I'm like, well I guess I should go now. As I turn to leave I have a crazy thought. I turn back and say, you know what, this is a beep crazy story. If it ends here, that's totally fine. But I kind of want to see if it goes anywhere, so if you wouldn't mind, I could write down my number for you and you can text or call me later if you want to go out sometime, to which she replied that she would like that and went to get a paper and pen. I figured that writing down my number and leaving wouldn't put more pressure on the situation since she could reach out to me if she wanted to, as opposed to asking for her number directly. I wrote it down and left, feeling a complex mixture of emotions but ultimately kind of a badass since I normally didn't have the stones to make a move like that. Then I went to Graham's real place to tell him the story, and he did not believe me until mid-conversation I got a text from her saying that I owe her a dinner now. From that moment on Graham thought I was some kind of demigod and told everyone who would listen that I was a female whisperer. I wish I could say that were true and this story would end with me proclaiming that she is my wife now, but I fumbled the follow-up and NGS with the woman fizzled after a couple dates. She was awesome, it was a real great white buffalo situation for me.
Walked in on my stepsister naked. Didn't know she was in there and needed to shower before going out. There was no noise or anything because she turned off the water and she was just stepping out of the shower as I opened the door.
Aside from family, I stayed at a friend's house and saw her topless. She is actually rather hot, and her hair covered her boobs like a mermaid. Turned out she has a relaxed attitude to nudity and doesn't see it as inherently sexual. She didn't mind.
Saw a crackhead butt beat naked taking a beep in the alley beside my apartment in Toronto.
I walked in on my stepmother shaving her bush. It wasn't sexy like in porn.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more quality content every day.